Hey everybody!
Hey everybody, welcome back to the homestead, to the live stream, Monday Lives.
It sure doesn't feel like December, 16th?
December 16th.
December 16th. It was 60 degrees out today.
63, I
above
think.
60 degrees out today. We started the morning with a thunderstorm, like a big thunderstorm. No damage or anything, but just tons of thunder and lightning. Started about 4:30 this morning, and man, it was like a springtime thunderstorm.
It was, and
the dogs hid under the bed.
They did. I think, what did we end up getting? How much rain did we end up getting?
Well, between yesterday and today, we got 4 inches.
Yeah.
So in about a day and a half, we got 4 inches of rain.
Yeah.
So we have definitely caught up on the rain after we had a drought.
And man, it came down. We were a little worried about the fencing that we just fixed from the last big storm that we had. Although the last big storm, we got 15 inches in 48 hours or something like that.
I mean, this wasn't nearly that much, but it was. Yeah, I had spent about 7 hours fixing fence the day before.
Yes.
And then it started to rain, and I'm like, oh, please, no.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah. Well, you all saw us fix some of the fence.
Right.
And then at the end of that video, we discovered that the hike all the way up there were 2 areas that were pretty compromised, the fencing. And
that's a nice way to put it.
And that our cattle would for sure go through that fence onto the neighbor's property. So that's what Kevin's talking about. He spent 7 hours, I think, of the next day.
Yeah, a few days later.
Yeah. Fixing that fencing. And so the good news is we were able to move the cattle from the government pond lot to the large
where they'll be for the winter.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And by the end of the week, it is supposed to get pretty cold.
Yeah.
So that's good to get them moved, because when they're in that area, they have nice running water. We don't have to be worried about ponds freezing over or anything like that. And now I can start on fixing all the fence in the government pond area, because that is not very good either.
Well, it's been a long time since anybody has really seriously tended to the fencing on this property. Right. And the original owners did a great job with the type of material that was available at the time.
Right.
And then once that gentleman passed away, his son did a great job maintaining and fixing here and there. But there are just some fence lines that need some major reinforcements.
Well, we have, I mean, on our entire property, we have about 6 miles of fence.
Wow.
5 or 6 miles of fence around the perimeter. And so, like, if you, I mean, and then you figure it's 4 or 5 strands of barbed wire. So, I mean, that's a lot of fence.
Yes.
And so to replace it is not an option.
Right.
It's like you just fix each piece as it needs to be fixed.
Right.
And that's what I'm doing as well.
Right.
You know, where all those old wood posts are, we're trying to put T-posts, but if it's at all possible to just reattach the old fence, that's what we're doing, because that's much easier than replacing everything.
And much more cost effective, because T-posts these days are so expensive.
Right. Yeah. When we started homesteading, T-posts were like $2, maybe $2.50, $3. For a while, they went up to $7, and now they're back down, I think, to 5 something. But still,
yeah, we have a large investment in T-posts.
True.
Especially around our chicken moat, because it's a double fence, double the amount of everything.
We should try to start a trend where T-posts are the new gold.
Oh.
You know, don't invest in gold and silver, invest in T-posts.
Oh. Well,
because then we're doing great.
Yeah.
We are doing really great. If anybody wants to trade and start using T-posts as currency, let us know.
Okay. That sounds good. Well, before we get into things too far, we want to mention the people that are helping us today. We have such great people that help us on our live streams. They moderate and make sure that any of the comments that shouldn't be in our live stream are conveniently and helpfully removed. And also they help us pick out questions and that kind of thing. So our first helpers today are our good friends, Rich and Shelley from Air to Ground Farms and Air to Ground Meats.
Yes.
This is a picture of their storefront. They have a meat store in Ava, Missouri, where they sell all of the meat that they raise on their farm.
Right.
Yeah. And eggs. They also do sell not raw meat. Duh.
They
frozen.
sell raw. They do sell raw meat.
Duh. Raw milk. But in Missouri, you can't sell raw milk at a storefront.
Right.
So they can sell off the farm.
Right.
And in meeting places in the community.
Right.
So, but they also sell their eggs.
Yes.
Yes.
They sell a lot of stuff.
Yeah, they do.
They have coffee. They have their own coffee.
Yeah.
So you should definitely go check out their store. It is not only is it a great place to go, but it's also a great place. I mean, a great place to go and shop, but it's also a great place to meet other people.
Yeah.
That are like-minded and just, build a community.
Well, the nice thing too is that they have like a sitting area in the like near the back of the store where you can just sit down and chat with them and with other people that come in.
Right.
And occasionally we stop by and chat.
Right. Drink a pot or two of coffee.
Yes, we love coffee. Yeah.
So do they. So that's why we get along.
So thank you to Rich and Shelley, and also our son-in-law, Gavin Reed. He is helping us moderate today. So thank you, Gavin. Gavin's also a realtor in our area, and we'd love for you to use him if you're thinking about buying land or looking at properties and stuff in our area.
Yeah, Gavin's been here in this area his entire life. He's got a lot of family here. He knows this area very, very well.
Yes.
And
his family farms.
And I hear that if you're looking for homesteading property, he has an inside track on some people who might be able to help give some pointers on what to look for.
Anyway, he knows what he's doing. That's
he
what
absolutely
we're trying to
does.
say.
Yes.
Yeah. So thank you, Gavin. Okay. So first we want to talk just a little bit about Christmas, because Christmas is coming up.
It is.
Next week, Christmas is coming up.
It's hard to believe. It's hard to believe because the weather just hasn't been
63 today.
Yet.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have some, our plans, the way that we celebrate Christmas has changed recently because Grace got married, and now, we're coordinating celebrating Christmas with Gavin's family. And also Samantha is in college, and although she will be home for Christmas, she works at a nursing home. And when you work in healthcare, you are not guaranteed to have holidays off because the people still need care. You can't just close like a store. And so occasionally, and this year, she will not be with us on Christmas Day proper.
Right. So
that's going to be a little bit different.
But she will be with us on Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve, yes, and Eve.
Right. So we always do Christmas Eve at my parents' house. Well, we've always done Christmas Eve at my parents' house and then Christmas Day at our house. But now that our oldest daughter, Grace, is married to Gavin, Gavin, we have to now we have to change things a little bit because there's other family involved.
Okay.
And, no, we're not. It's not a big deal. So now we do Christmas Eve at my parents' house.
Yep.
And then Grace and Gavin can go do all the Christmas Eve stuff with his family. Yep. And then they come over to our house on Christmas Day and go to his house on Christmas Day as well. So so it just makes it there's a lot going on.
Yep.
We're a very small family.
Yes.
It's like always just like us and my parents. Mm-hmm. But Gavin has a very large family, so I think it's been a little different for Grace getting used to having to like go to a lot of different events.
Right.
But yeah, so we do Christmas Eve at my mom and dad's, and so that's where we'll all be giving Samantha her presents this year because she won't be home on Christmas Day.
Right. Yeah.
So works out.
So we're looking forward to that.
She gets her presents 2 days early.
That's right. Yeah. So we're looking forward to that. I have not.
I think I need to work on Christmas Day also, and should get my presents 2 days early.
No.
Oh, darn it.
I have not decided what we're going to eat for Christmas. Sometimes we've had turkey. Sometimes we've had ham. Sometimes we've had pork roast. Samantha is requesting pork roast, my special mustard garlic pork roast.
But she's not going to be home.
I know.
She can have to have leftovers, or maybe we can take a trip to the nursing home and take her some.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are going Christmas caroling at the nursing home.
Yes.
Our church is going Christmas caroling at the nursing home on Friday. That's always a fun event. We take Christmas cookies and we go. There's 2 nursing homes here in our town, so we go. The whole church goes, and we sing to all the folks at the nursing home, and it's always a good time.
It is. Yeah. So lots of Christmas festivities going on.
Yeah.
We wanted to let you guys know, and we'll probably remind you at the end to make sure everybody gets to hear this, but next week, the week of Christmas, we will be off of YouTube entirely.
We rarely do that.
Yes, we rarely do that.
We are doing that this year.
Yes. So we will not have a live stream on Christmas Eve, the 23rd.
Right.
And we will not have videos next week.
Right.
So we will catch back up with you on the 30th.
Right.
And then we will resume videos that week as well.
Right.
Yeah.
For a whole nother year.
For a whole nother year.
We'll probably take the week of Christmas off again next year.
Who knows? Who knows? So we don't have very big plans for this live stream right here.
No, normally we come up with a topic and we try to talk a little bit, but I'll be honest, it's been a really busy week. We've been doing a lot at our church. Our church is actually we're building a new building. So we've been spending some time there helping to do some of the building at the church. We've just had other events going on. And then our church also does a big, what's called light walk, where we just have a huge light display. And people from the community can come and walk through the whole big light display. There's no charge. We just do it. We make s'mores for all the kids. And so Sarah and I worked at that last night. We volunteered and worked at that last night. So it's just been a crazy few days. And so we didn't come up with a talking subject today. We figured we would just open it up to questions from you guys right off the bat.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Let's see.
But first,
what?
Everybody likes to, number one, see what we're drinking.
Oh, mine's boring this week.
Mine's always boring. I'm drinking LaCroix Berry sparkling water. There you go.
I'm drinking the same thing I was drinking last week, which is the watermelon.
Oh, I love the watermelon.
Yeah. It's not the same one as last week. It's a new one. I made it today.
Ugh.
So.
Okay, and our shirts.
Otherwise, it would probably be wine by now, I think.
There's no sugar in it, so it couldn't be wine. Our shirts.
True.
Mine says.
Oh, we almost match.
That's backwards. What does it say? The stars are brightly shining. The stars are brightly shining. Christmas.
Is it always backwards?
I don't know.
Rich, is it always backwards when we show our shirts?
No. He says no.
Is it backwards today?
What's going on?
Oh,
what do we do differently?
Us. He's saying it's only backwards to us. Oh. Okay. So farmers. A person who's outstanding in their field.
So true.
Usually not just standing, though, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
If I'm just standing, it's because there's something like really wrong.
All right. Rich popped in.
All right.
Jody Whitler. Thank you so much, Jody.
Thank you, Jody.
Good to hear from you again this week. She says, hello, prayers for all affected in the shootings. Yes, you guys, we just found out about that. And we know next to nothing about what's going on.
I just saw an alert about it.
Other than it's in Wisconsin.
Right. It was in Madison, I guess.
And it is like a Christian school.
That's what I heard. Yeah. I'll be honest. I know nothing about it. So.
Yeah. So yes, prayers for everybody affected by that.
Yeah.
She also said, I don't know anything about dairy animals. Once you have a dairy cow in milk, will they stay in milk indefinitely or will they dry up at some point on their own? Well, it's kind of a two-part answer.
Why don't you give both parts?
Oh, okay.
Okay.
In general, you'll want to rebreed your cow every year to have a constant flow of a good amount of milk.
Right.
You could really keep your cow or goats, I guess, in milk longer than that. It's just that their milk supply will continuously decrease.
Right.
And then ultimately be not very much. Now, we've had a cow that was in milk for 18 months and she still was producing a gallon of milk a day.
Right.
But our goats were harder to keep in milk, really producing much of anything if we didn't rebreed them consistently.
And I think it's healthier for the animals to have some time where they're dried up.
Oh, for sure.
So Babe now has been dried up for a few months. Yeah. And now, she's going to calf any day now. We've been on baby watch all week.
Yep. So good question.
So good question. Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, you could stretch it and you could keep her in milk for a long, long time. It's not the best for the animal.
Right. All right. Ashley Yearns. Hey, I'm from Queen City, Missouri. Awesome neighbor. We have no idea where that is because we never go anywhere.
Right. But it's in Missouri, so you're a neighbor.
My question is, when you hatch eggs in an incubator, are the chicks usually hens or roosters? Is it better to incubate or buy some chicks if you're wanting a certain sex?
Well, if you're wanting a certain sex, definitely buy chicks so you can get them from a hatchery that knows how to sex them.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't care, then definitely, incubating them is fine. There are all kinds of old wives' tales and things out there to help you guess what's going to be roosters and hens. We actually did a video, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago already, because we heard that if the eggs are pointy, they're going to be roosters,
Mm-hmm.
and if they're round, they're going to be hens. And I can tell you, when we did that experiment, it was 50-50.
It was still 50-50.
Right.
Yeah.
So I would say that has no truth to it at all.
Right.
So, I mean, you can get certain breeds that are what are called sex link. So you will know the second that they're hatched if they're male or female, and
because they're a different color.
Because they're different color. So you don't have to wait until they're old enough to see what they are. But if you definitely want, like, say, 10 hens and 1 rooster, get them from a hatchery and order what you want.
Yep. Let's do this one from Kimberly Snedden. What is your favorite meal to preserve in the harvest right? We have the medium one and can't wait to start preserving meals, short and long-term storage meal ideas. Welcome. You go first.
I think as far as like meals go, we normally, to be honest, we normally do ingredients.
Mostly ingredients.
But as far as meals go, I think we do soups more than anything, like soups and stews more than anything, because they just rehydrate
quickly and well.
And so perfectly. Yeah.
Yep.
It's like exactly the same.
I would
like
say
you
that
can
too.
like freeze-dried split pea soup, like, is perfect.
Right. And really my favorite is like chili,
right?
Because I love chili and I love to make chili and I love to eat chili. And
really the nice thing about freeze-dried is, like, if you are married to someone who you don't always agree with, like, the consistency of soup, like true. Us, like I like really thick, chunky, hearty soup, where Sarah likes it more like watery and, like, I don't know what the word is, brothy, thin. I don't know. But when you rehydrate it, she can add more water to hers and have it be the way she likes it. And I can add less water and have it be the way I like it. So works out perfectly.
Yeah. But we do mainly freeze dry ingredients.
Right.
Because a lot of times we're working on what we've harvested from the garden and stuff.
Right.
So I do lots of diced onions, lots of diced green peppers, lots of tomato sauce.
Right.
Just all kinds of ingredients.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. David Lister's question is, how old should baby bunnies be before they can be sold?
5 weeks, right?
5 weeks is when you can wean.
Hey, I knew something about rabbits.
When you can wean them. And it's probably the earliest time to really be confident when you're sexing them.
Even then, it can be iffy. If you're not experienced, rabbits are hard to sex, even
when they're little.
When they're little,
when they're grown up, it's totally easy.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Good question,
but
David.
Yeah, 5 weeks is the earliest I would do.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, this is good.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
April
G. Knowing what you know now, what would be the 5 pieces of equipment you would have bought in the beginning of homesteading?
Beginning of
let's not limit ourselves with like the monetary thing.
No, I'm not actually thinking about that. I'm thinking about like the size of the homestead. Like when we started homesteading, we had 1 acre of land. Now we have a lot of land. There's 2 different things there. If you're gonna have a lot of land, I mean, a tractor, without a doubt, you have to have a tractor. If you have a lot of land, you have to have a tractor.
If you have a small homestead, though, you guys, like a 4-wheeler, an ATV, or even kind of a powerful rider lawnmower.
Right.
You'd be surprised what you can do with those little things, man. We have an ATV that we got from my dad, and he used it like he got it like in the 90s.
Well, on our property that we had in Arizona, which was only 1.25 acres, I had an ATV that I actually bought a bucket, like a front loader for it, because I used it to spread out mulch and all kinds of stuff like that. And that worked out really well on a property that size because it's maneuverable.
Right.
You can pick up a used ATV I mean, not super expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say an ATV, I mean, good quality tools. Whatever you're going to buy, I would just say buy the best quality that you can afford, because in this lifestyle, you're going to be rough on tools. I'm partial to DeWalt tools because to me, they are just built so solid. I can drop them. I can, leave them out in the rain, and they just seem to keep working forever.
Probably a T-post pounder.
Because
inevitably you'll be doing lots of fencing.
Right.
And that is going to save your abs, basically.
Right.
Kevin had a triple hernia repaired shortly after we moved here to Missouri. And, I think some of that is because of how much T-post pounding you did.
Right. With the hand.
Yeah.
With the hand one. Yeah.
And then afterwards we're like, we gotta do something about this.
Right. Yeah. I would say a good chainsaw is important. As far as like, butchering equipment, I would buy a plucker if you're going to be processing your own animals. A good set of butchering cones.
Yeah. Although you can make those with flashing.
Yeah.
Our first ones we made with flashing.
Yeah. And honestly, we used them for like 10 years.
Right.
We just replaced them this year.
I know. Yeah.
So you can make your own for sure of those.
Yeah. Again, you can make your own scalder. That's super easy.
Yeah. But a plucker, I would definitely say a plucker.
I think that might be fine.
If you're doing in-ground gardening, I would definitely get a good tiller.
Yeah.
Preferably if it's a hand tiller, get one that does the reverse tilling where the tines till backwards, so it's not yanking you forward.
Yeah.
Gosh, that's a good question. There's so many tools that you buy that you may not use very often. Like I have an auger for my tractor. I only use it once or twice a year, but I can tell you the once or twice a year that I need it, gosh, I'm so happy to have it because it is it's just such a time saver.
Right. Okay, let's do this one. From Claudia Bishop. Question. We are presently looking for property and have been gardening on our existing property. When starting a new homestead acreage, what animals would you recommend starting with first?
I mean, I would start with chickens first.
For sure.
Yeah. I mean, chickens, rabbits, kind of the gateway animals.
Right. Yeah. I would get your feet wet with meat chickens as well.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Chickens for eggs, meat chickens. Right. And I would say
if you want to do bigger animals, I would do a couple pigs. Just like seasonally. Don't jump right into breeding them. Do them seasonally first.
Because pigs really are easy. If you can
if you have the space
keep them contained, they are very easy.
Right.
Yeah. And if you're just gonna So I would say, chickens for eggs. I would do Cornish, at least one batch of Cornish cross meat chickens, just so you have that experience, and then you can determine whether or not you want to continue raising Cornish cross.
Right.
Meat turkeys are also easy, and they provide a lot of bang for your buck.
Right.
Yeah.
Any of the like hybrid animals, like the Cornish cross, the broad-breasted turkeys, things like that, are kind of a nice way to kind of get your feet wet with some of those.
Yes.
And then they're like done. Yep. So like you have them for, like Cornish cross, you have them for 7 or 8 weeks, and then they're done. And then you can kind of evaluate quickly, and you didn't have to think about, now I'm going to have these animals for the next 5 years.
Right. And also Pekin ducks are ready for butcher in 8 weeks too, if you feed them properly. Right. So that's a good fast one that you can experiment with also.
Right.
Yeah. Let's see here.
The Hermit Homestead. $5. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
Hello from Illinois. Hey, hello from Illinois. My father-in-law lives in Illinois.
Yes, I was born in Illinois.
I love your story.
Love your story and content. You took a leap of faith and swam right through it. Bravo.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
It was a leap of faith. Everybody in our lives thought we were crazy. Yeah. And maybe we are, but it worked out. Yeah. So we're happy.
Yeah.
Happy and crazy, I guess.
Yes. Tim Ring. Kevin, how many deer did you put in the freezer?
74. No. 2. I only ended up getting 2. Now, it's still archery season until the middle of January, so I do still have a little bit of time. There was a short doe season this last week. I only got out for about 3 hours one afternoon. Like I said, it's been a crazy week. So I only ended up getting 2. I got one for us and one for Grace and Gavin. And so I wish I would have gotten more, but that's how it is for this year.
Yeah. Okay, this is kind of a housekeeping question from Buffy A. She won one of our prizes from last week, and she said, I won the can opener last week and sent a message via the website, but didn't hear anything back. Just not sure if I did it right. Yes, we got it. And I did reply, but sometimes I think our replies, because it comes from a contact form, I think it goes to people's junk or spam folders. So yes, I did reply, and I did forward your information to Forge Ours. So thank you for asking, and thank you for doing those things. Oh, here. Rusty Lilac Farm. Are you presents on Christmas Eve or presents Christmas Day people traditionally?
We are presents Christmas Day people normally. Now, growing up, I was Christmas Eve. We always did Christmas Eve, but now we do Christmas Day. We have ever since we've been married with our kids, we've always done Christmas Day.
Growing up for me, we did our immediate family presents really just before we left to go to Iowa to be with my grandparents. So it wasn't consistent. And then we did family presents all together on Christmas Day. This is about goats from Tim Ring. Are goats a good idea? Why or why not? You can start.
I'm going to keep my mouth shut on this one.
Goats are a nice animal.
Donkeys are a good idea. That's what's a good idea. Anyway, talk about goats.
Speaking of donkeys.
Yes.
On our last video, because Kevin was talking about how he's going to have to basically hike up this really long, or this steep mountain, basically, with all the equipment to fix the fencing, there were several people that said, if you had a donkey, you could just pack that stuff up there.
That's right.
And that was like the first practical reason I've heard for having a donkey.
Right. All I gotta say is, it seems like it's a necessity at this point to have a donkey.
I'm still on.
We've got a lot of fence to fix. Now, I'll say this also.
Oh, wait.
So we went to the Christmas parade here in our town a couple days ago. It was on Saturday. And right at the end of the parade are all of these horses. And then a mini horse goes by.
Like a pony.
I don't think it's a mini horse.
Okay.
I think there's a difference. Anyway, and Sarah goes, now one of those, that would be neat to have, not a donkey, maybe the mini horse. So now we've got a whole nother debate on our hands. Do we get a donkey or do we get a mini horse?
Well, here's what I was thinking, and maybe we can negotiate this.
All right.
If I don't have to help you with any fencing, maybe if you get it, maybe you could have a donkey. All right. We're going to negotiate on that. Back to goats.
All right.
So goats are really good when you're learning about milk animals, when you're learning about small meat animals.
When you're learning about whether or not your fences are good enough.
True.
Because goats will get through any fence.
No fences are good enough for goats. If you want to be frustrated, you will get goats.
No.
No, goats are good. I really like goats.
I did too. When we have them, I like them.
I love their kids, their babies. They're super sweet. I do love them. We just kind of graduated to
cattle.
Yeah, to milk cows. And it was just a natural progression for us. And at that time, we just kind of realized that that's just where we needed to go.
Right.
As far as dairy animals go, the goats are fast and easy to milk. But their milk doesn't last as long in the refrigerator before it starts tasting goaty.
Is that a word?
I made it up.
Good. Okay.
The cream doesn't separate. Their milk is naturally homogenized. So unless you have a cream separator, it's hard to get the cream out of it to make just butter or just kind of cream things. And with cow's milk, that happens naturally. Within 24 hours, you can skim cream for butter and those kinds of things. So we just decided to go the route of cows.
Right.
Plus, we were raising Nigerian dwarf goats, and we needed several of them in order to produce the quantity of milk that we needed. Whereas when we switched to cows, like one is plenty. More than enough for us.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, good question.
Oh, Hermit Homestead. Again, thank you.
Thank you for that super chat.
Picked up a fixer-upper with 9 acres in Mansfield a few months back.
Awesome.
Trying to get out there permanently, God willing. Hey,
Awesome.
Congratulations. That's
Yeah.
not too far from us. It's just the
No.
next town over.
Yep. That's a nice area.
Yeah.
Lori Nanko, thank you for $20 super chat.
Yeah,
Merry Christmas to you.
Yeah, Jesus is king. Absolutely.
Yeah,
he
praise
sure
God.
is.
Yep,
Yes.
absolutely. Here we will go to Justin Bowman. Real tree or artificial tree?
Artificial tree.
We are doing artificial tree.
Right.
Yes. Growing up, we always got real trees, but you couldn't have real trees.
No, my brother was like extremely allergic to real trees, and my brother's a really bad asthmatic, and real trees would just put him into a huge asthma episode. So we never had real trees. So I always grew up with fake trees, and fake trees are what we do now.
From DMS, how did your stevia drops turn out? Do you use the drops? The stevia drops turned out okay. They're not as strong as the drops that you can get from the store, and they have more of an earthy flavor. In order to use them in my coffee, for instance, I use like 4 drops of stevia in a cup of coffee from the grocery store, the stevia from the grocery store, but my homemade stuff, I would need like 20 or a little more, and it would taste a little bit leafy. So I think going forward, I'm very happy to know how to grow it and to start it from seed, which is actually very difficult for stevia. And I'm very happy to know how to make it if I need it in the future.
Right.
Yeah. To be honest, it's becoming harder and harder to find stevia in any form that is not mixed with another type of artificial sweetener. And I don't like that because the artificial sweeteners they're not as good for you as stevia.
Right.
The Hermit Homestead again. Thank you.
Gained a respect for red wasps this last summer.
Yes,
oh
red
my gosh.
wasps.
Yes. Be careful because I actually ran over a log with the bush hog that was filled with them one time, and they came out and they came after me.
Yeah. The red wasps are the most aggressive wasps.
They'll chase you down.
Yes.
So yes, be careful with them. How do you avoid / control ticks and chiggers, and any horror stories? To control them, or first of all, we try to do most of our work that's like in the woods the most we can in the wintertime.
Right.
When the chicks and tiggers are gone. Ticks and chiggers are gone. In the summer, when we need to go into the woods for things, or like when we go blackberry picking, or just things like that, we use the
I'll go get some.
Okay, it's called Sawyer's spray. Unfortunately, it's not natural. It's a pyrethrin spray, but it will last like 6 weeks on your clothes, 6 weeks or 6 washings on your clothes, and it does a really good job. The other thing that you can do is what we used to do, and what I still do sometimes, is keep an old sock full of sulfur powder. And when you're going out into the woods, you can just grab that sock and you like tap it onto your pant legs and onto your shoes, and the smell of the sulfur will keep them off of you. And that does a pretty good job. It's not as good as the Sawyer spray, but it does a pretty good job.
The thing I don't like about the powder is that it makes your whole laundry smell bad.
It does, but it works.
Yeah, so all your laundry smells like it. So this is what
it looks
like, and we get this from Amazon. And there are 2 sizes of these spray bottles. Yeah. This is the largest one, and I recommend getting the large one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, as far as horror stories, I think the biggest horror stories was 2 years ago when I got it's called Ehrlichiosis. And I was very sick. Yeah, and actually scary. It can be deadly if not caught in time. And I thought I was having a flare-up of arthritis at first, my psoriatic arthritis. And so like my joints were super achy. And so I was just like, I didn't think much of it at first until I started to get a really high fever. And then we finally went to the doctor. And by the time we went to the doctor, like it was bad. Like I was, and then, so they put me on some doxycycline, which is what treats most of the tick diseases. But even after I was on the medication, it took me, it was like a month total before I was, I would say, back to fairly normal. And I've never felt the way I felt with that. Like I was in, like every square inch of my body hurt.
Yep.
Even my hair would hurt.
And
like
your skin.
Yeah, it was not pleasant at all. So I definitely have taken ticks a lot more seriously since then. I think prior to that, I was always a little cocky about it. But between that and the prevalence now of alpha-gal, where people are, just becoming allergic to mammal meat, which we just met someone last night at the church event who was, you got to take the ticks seriously.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
Deborah Haynes, thank you very much for your super chat. We really appreciate that. And Donna Eckler, 1999, happy birthday and Merry Christmas. Kevin's birthday was last week.
Yeah.
Toward the donkey fund.
Do I look a lot older? Because this week, I'll be honest, this week I feel a little bit older.
Do you?
Yeah. It's just been a tiring week.
So donkeys, way better than a mini horse. It will protect the cows. My grandma had a regular size. I loved him. His name must have been Sam.
Yeah.
Oh.
We have a daughter named Sam, and my grandpa's name was Sam.
Yeah.
So
Pat Baker, could you raise layers and meat birds in the same coop run, or would you advise against it? Depends on the breed.
Yeah, but honestly, I would advise against it just because of how you're going to feed them.
Oh, that's true.
With the meat birds, you really want to feed constantly all the time, as much as they possibly want to eat. And with your layers, you really don't want to do that.
Right. Yeah.
So,
well, Cornish cross, though, you'd feed 12 on and 12 off, which is not constantly, but it is also different than what you would feed for your layers.
And you're going to feed, a different type of feed.
True.
So,
yeah. Here, Kimberly Scribner, we've heard from her several times before. Do you have a good way to water your chickens when it's cold? I have to water hose.
We have a frost-free hydrant right outside of their coop, so we can just fill one of those rubber pans every day.
Yeah.
And so luckily with them, it's right there.
Otherwise, we have an expandable hose.
Right.
That is super lightweight, and we put that in a bucket and carry that around, and that's how we fill the water containers for the rest of the animals on the homestead. And then it shrinks back up, and I put it either in the well house to keep it from freezing, or bring it in the house in the laundry room.
I think you showed it in a video recently. I think it was the video where it was called It's Coming, Are You Prepared, or something like that. It was about getting ready for winter.
Yep, and I think you've shown it too since then.
Okay.
See here. Homestead Jude, what do you think about dual purpose chickens? Is it better to have dedicated layers and meat birds?
Well, since we raise a dual purpose chicken, we raise the American breast, which is for eggs and for meat. I mean, there are pluses and minuses to both. Typically, when anything is a dual purpose, it's not going to be as good at either as something, that was specialized for that. So you're not going to get as much meat as quickly on a dual purpose chicken, on any dual purpose chicken, as you are on a Cornish cross. And you're also probably not going to get as many eggs on a chicken that's also partially for meat as you would for, say, like a leghorn or something like that. So there's some trade-offs, but we like the security of having a dual purpose chicken because it just means that you can, you have control over all of that yourselves, and you don't have to worry about a hatchery depending on a hatchery. So,
Jody Whitler.
Well, I want to say one more thing.
Okay.
If you're selling chicken, then like Rich and Shelley do, hands down, Cornish cross is the way to go. As a business move, you're not going to get anywhere near the amount of meat as quickly for the best feed conversion and have, extremely good meat.
Best bang for your buck, for sure.
Right. There's a reason why people like Joel Salatin raise Cornish cross.
Right.
It's because he's done.
And he's a businessman. He understands.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
Jody Whitler, what's your process for collecting eggs to hatch out?
I actually have an old egg turner from one of the old styrofoam incubators. And so what we do, we don't keep them at any certain temperature. We just keep them at room temperature. But every day when we bring them in, if they were clean enough, then we put them on the egg turner, and we just leave them on that egg turner until we have however many we want.
Yeah,
up to a week.
Well,
normally.
I think 5 days is our target.
Yes, normally we try to get enough in 5 days, but up to a week is okay. Right. And having them on that egg turner seems to do a really good job.
Right.
But otherwise, you can just put them in an egg carton, and then prop it up on something, and then every day turn it around so the other end is propped up. And really, while you're saving them before they're in the incubator, once or twice a day is fine to turn them. Mm-hmm. So,
why do you need to turn them?
So that the yolk doesn't stick to the side of the shell.
Okay. And I have read that you should do it an odd number of times a day. I don't really know if that's true or not. You should either do it like 1 or 3 times a day. I don't know why that would be, but I did read that.
Well, if you did it 418 times, that would be odd.
Wow. Greg Pillow, have you considered owning a livestock guardian dog? Let's do the short answer.
We tried it. It didn't work out for us.
Yes.
Yeah.
But, yeah, they would need to be very good with our poultry, with our birds, because really, other than that, we only have cattle, and we don't really have any predators here that bother our cattle.
Right.
So we would only need them for small animals.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It just didn't work out for us.
Right.
Mm-hmm. But we know a lot of people who have them and love them.
Yes, we do. Ronnie Brace, do you plan on getting other breeds of chickens like your rock stars? Thanks. Maybe.
Yeah.
We don't really have any plans to now, but every once in a while, we don't think that like 18 eggs a day is enough.
And the two of us.
And then we're like, we should get another flock.
Right.
Of some really,
I will say this about raising only the American breasts for like our main flock. They're a little...
It's boring to look at.
They're a little plain. It would be nice to have some color out there. So who knows in the future?
Yeah. Yep.
I will say also, we are getting a new breed of geese in the spring.
I don't know what they're called. That's your department.
Maybe I'll save it as a secret. Oh. I'll drop you a hint though. They are one of the only sex-linked breeds of geese, which means the day they hatch, if they're male or female. Mm-hmm. There's not many breeds of geese like that, and that's why we're getting these.
Right.
So
here's a common question that's easy to answer. Brandy Murphy, how much land do you guys have?
We have a little over 120 acres.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Warhersted. So now that you have more land, will you be cutting firewood?
Not all that we need for sure. Like I don't plan on going and cutting down trees specifically for firewood. I definitely cut up like big limbs that come down, or if there's trees that need to come down for a reason, we'll cut those up for firewood. We buy firewood. We heat strictly with wood, and if we don't have enough, we buy it. It's around here, it's pretty reasonable. And I've kind of done the, math generally in my head about like, is it worth my time to spend all that time cutting down trees, splitting the wood, stacking all of that versus what I pay someone. And for me, with so many other things to do,
right.
I don't think it's worth the time.
Right. There are people that really, really enjoy cutting and splitting firewood.
Right.
Yeah, but that's not us.
No.
But,
But we don't let wood go to waste.
No, absolutely
not. We'll definitely cut and split if, when things come down that need to be taken care of.
Yeah. Here's a cow question from Escape the Matrix Homestead.
Okay.
We're getting into cattle soon in Ava. Cool. Moving all our stuff there at the end of the month. What is the order you would get cows? Should you buy calves first? There's an advantage of buying calves first, and that is...
I'm assuming that they want to breed. They want a cow-calf operation.
Well, they'll probably need to replace anyway, so that doesn't necessarily matter. your first one, I would get a steer of whatever age you want so that you can raise that up for meat, and that can be a fast source of protein for your family.
Right.
If you would buy calves first, obviously it would take longer for you to start breeding them and then, them multiplying. But on the other hand, if you bought calves first, they would get to know your property and you before they're very strong and, strong to test fences and things like that. And then you have basically the control of how friendly they are, basically based on how much time you spend with them.
Right.
We have come across some really skittish and kind of crazy cows, mainly because they are not around humans very often.
Right.
And so
then there's our cows who follow us everywhere we go.
That's because they like us.
Because they like us, and we're out there all the time.
Yeah. So
today was the first day Watson ate out of Sarah's hand.
Yeah, we're
out feeding today, and we had some of the cattle cubes. Yeah, our bowl, which is pretty intimidating, I'll tell you. And she was hand feeding them cubes.
Yep.
So it was from the
opposite side
of a fence, though. So I wouldn't go in there and try to rub all up on them as like you do your dairy cow,
Yeah. Oh, here's a good question for you, Kevin. From Bill Whittington, would you recommend a pellet stove or wood burning stove for a small homestead? But do you have access to timber?
But do have
access to timber.
I would recommend a wood burning stove over a pellet stove. Now, I love my pellet grill, but from a preparedness standpoint, what I wish they would come out with. See, now, if anybody knows how to invent stuff, they need a stove that does both.
Right.
Because the convenience of having the pellets, I mean, I've never used a pellet stove, but I can imagine after having the pellet grill that is super convenient to be able to dump a bag of pellets in, basically set it and forget it, and you're,
It'd be a lot less
but
messy.
I wish they would, but then I'm just worried that you need to have power, right? Because it has to have a fan of some kind, most likely. Has to be able to have an auger to feed the pellets in. So there has to be electricity of some way. And then it also just, the preparedness, you can't prep. You can't make the pellets yourself.
Right. You can only prep by buying more and more.
If someone invented a stove that did both, that would be amazing. And I might even consider switching ours out.
Yeah. But if you had to choose.
If I had to choose, hands down, wood burning stove.
I knew that would be
because you can do it yourself.
Yeah. Darlene Wright, what are the downfalls of raising ducks and geese?
Well, the geese can be pretty aggressive, especially at certain times of year, like when they're sitting on eggs and right after the babies are born, they can be pretty darn mean and they hurt. I mean, they're not gonna kill you, but they hurt. They'll pinch your skin with their beak, and it's.
Yeah, I got bitten by a friend's goose in the shin, and it made a huge, deep, big old bruise.
I got bit right here on the arm this year, and it hurts. So that would be, I would say, the only downfall of raising geese. I mean, otherwise, I really enjoy them.
The geese and the ducks, if you don't know how to manage their messiness, can be annoying because they're messy. Because they like to dig around in the mud and make mud holes, and then they'll take a mouthful of mud and then put it in the water and try to sift through it, and so then the waters are really dirty. But we've learned over the years how to manage that behavior, and we really like specifically ducks. They have such amazing character. They're good producers of eggs. Their eggs taste very good. We actually prefer duck eggs over chicken eggs. So that's probably the biggest downfall. And the Pekin ducks are really a meat duck, although they do lay pretty well, but they eat a lot.
They do eat a lot. Well,
because they eat more than the other types of the runners.
Well, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
The nice thing about geese is that they mostly eat grass. And so this whole last summer, only in the very spring when the grass was going crazy out in Wattlesville, did I have to take a mower in there ever.
Right.
But
and that's also because they were hatching their young and we had them separated from the other other birds.
Right. So once all the geese were out running around all day, they didn't have to I didn't have to mow in there all summer.
Mm-hmm. Carol Hampson, there are many stores that carry the 5-gallon buckets, but they are not all made of the same quality. Can you recommend a better made bucket that lasts longer? We generally get the white buckets from Walmart,
right?
And they seem to do well
right.
for us.
And they are food grade.
There was a blue bucket. I don't remember where we got it, but they were cracking on the bottom. Do you remember?
I think those were from Walmart.
I think they were the blue.
They used to sell 2 colors at Walmart. One was blue, and I don't think it was food grade.
That could
and
be
then
why.
one, and then the white one. Now I think they only sell the white one. At least here.
I think so too. Yeah.
But that's what we get, and I mean, I don't know if there's a better quality 5-gallon bucket.
I don't know. Robert Godsey, have you used the Jake's fence tighteners? I've done fencing for years, and these are a game changer. Would love to see you demo these for others.
Jake's fence tighteners. I'm not familiar with what those are. I'll have to look it up. I just bought a different type of fence. Two different things one on Amazon, which are like little. They're just a wire little clip, and it comes with a little tool that you can put on, and then you like twist it, and it twists the wire around and then like clamps back onto itself. I've tried a few of those, and they're okay. They do okay. And then I just bought what's called a golden rod as well, which is a fence tightener as well for doing bigger patchwork and stuff. So, but I just picked that up locally.
Right.
I used to always just use a come along, but this new thing is nice.
The new thing is like a come along, but it hooks to itself on both sides, and it click, 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 and then you can patch it and undo it.
Right.
Yeah. You had said that the reason why you didn't want to do more of those little clip things is because holy schmoly. Let me finish, but holy schmoly. The clip things are not that cheap. So if you have a lot to do, you're going to put a lot more money into just when you could just buy the contraption thing.
Right.
The Hermit Homestead, thank you so much. $100 super chat. That's awesome. Thank you. They said tossing you a few more Dogecoin.
Yeah.
Perhaps been lucky, but have always gotten by giving. Maybe you could get that fish pond Kevin's been talking about. Okay, we're talking negotiations here. We'll check out Rich and Shelley's store if passing Ava, and contact Gavin for land if I decide to go full cowboy. Merry Christmas. Well, thank
Merry
you
Christmas
for all
to
of those
too.
things.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Let's see here. This is a milk question. I didn't read it. Homestead Jude. My raw milk supply is pretty much gone for the winter. What do you think of homemade soy milk as a substitute for a few months? I'm making it from non-GMO dried beans, super cheap and yum. Well, I'm glad to know that it is non-GMO.
Right.
I personally, I don't consume soy because of the natural female hormones that are within soy. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't or anything like that. That's everybody's choice. But when I'm low on raw milk, I either buy raw milk from friends, or I buy organic milk in the grocery store. I do know that it's more expensive, but I prefer one of those two options over consuming or even making any of my own nut milks or the soy milk.
Right. But everybody has to make that decision if they feel that's good or bad.
Right. That's a rabbit question. Monica Burkholder. How do you keep the rabbits' water from freezing in the winter?
Well, we don't use the water bottles in the winter. We just use the little rubber bowls, and we just change them out a couple times a day.
Yep. So they will freeze. Those rubber bowls are nice because you can put them on the ground. You can stomp on them really hard, and they don't bust like a ceramic crock or a plastic water dish. Right.
And really, it seems like if the rabbits get, like 2 good drinks a day in the winter, that's fine for them.
Really. So. Yeah, for sure. Question here from Darlene Wright. How is the milk cow retraining going? It's gone great.
Yeah.
It really took me 3 times to get her back up on the milking stanchion just by moving her grain bucket closer and closer.
Right.
And now she goes up like a champ
She
every single
remembered
day.
how much she likes grain.
Yes. Yeah. So that went fine.
So it's pretty much done.
Yeah. Let's see. Deborah Haynes. Hey, will you in the future sell baby rabbit pairs? Well, not for breeding, because right now we have 1 buck and
1 doe.
And 1 doe.
So
we will be selling basically litter mates, and litter mates shouldn't breed to each other.
So we'll probably have bucks and does to sell, but not as breeders.
Yes.
But if you're in our local area, I said this last week too, if you're in our local area, let us know, because we know other people who actually are raising some of our original stock, and they have rabbits for sale as well.
Yeah. All right. Richard Wolf, what did you do for a living before you all decided to be homesteaders? You go first.
I was in sales for quite a long time. I was in dental supply sales. And then after that, I worked for a company. We sold firearms simulators, training simulators for the military and law enforcement. So I was in sales for most of my adult life, although right after we got married 26 years ago, I went to school to be a vet tech, and I did work as a veterinary technician for a while before getting into sales.
Yep. And most of my time before this homesteading deal, I worked in human resources, and the last few positions I had was as a human resources executive.
That's what we did. At the end, we both worked for the same company, and the day we decided to quit and move to Missouri, we both put in our notices at exactly the same time.
Yes.
We worked in the same building, but we had different bosses, and we just went in, and that was it. We became homesteaders.
I know. Nana 911, how do you cook your breast chickens? We cook our breast chickens the way you'd cook any old chicken.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we do everything with them. I mean, we grill them, we cook them. So I wouldn't treat them any differently than you do any other chicken.
I will say that with the breast chickens, it is very important to process them on time. They are ready to be butchered at 16 weeks. And if you go much longer than that, they will start getting tough. So, but they,
because they're a heritage breed.
When you're raising a heritage breed chicken or, bird of any kind, they're not going to be as soft. The meat is not going to be as soft and as juicy and moist as a Cornish cross, because a Cornish cross is really a baby.
Right.
Baby animals. I mean, we don't want to talk about this, but
the younger the animal, the more tender the meat. That's going to be true of any animal. That's why veal was so, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So that's just the truth. So because they're a heritage breed, you have to raise them to 16 weeks. They're going to be tougher than a Cornish cross, but they also have a ton of good flavor.
Very good flavor.
And they're reproducible on your own. So
right. Absolutely.
I think we have time for one more.
Oh my gosh, are you kidding?
I know. It's almost 7 o'clock
already. So fast. Kathy Lyon, why do you have a panel on Babe's round bale? Like maybe a hay ring or the cradle thing? Maybe?
Not exactly.
Or we do have a cattle panel on the bottom and over the top. Oh, okay.
I think that's
sorry, we're trying to figure it out.
So we have a cattle panel that goes up over the top.
Yes.
It used to have a tarp that went over it to help keep rain and stuff off the bale. Mm-hmm. And the tarp is disintegrated. So we need to probably put another one on, because honestly, it did help, especially when you're feeding just one animal, like one dairy cow. She doesn't go through it super fast. So by having the tarp on there, it did help. So I probably should go put another tarp on there. If that's what you were talking about,
it probably
that's the answer.
Is.
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking straight. Okay, we have
All right.
We have more time.
More time, okay.
Alan Ferry, you mentioned Pekin ducks. Is it worthwhile plucking them, or is it better to skin them?
Skin them. We tried plucking them many, many times when we first started raising them. We tried every method you can imagine,
including the duck wax,
including duck wax and everything. And it's, in our opinion, it's not worth the time.
Right.
You know,
the only disadvantage to skinning skinning the ducks is that you don't get the fat. And duck fat is like the best, most luxurious fat on the planet. So you miss out on that. I make amends knowing that I get so much fat from our pigs and so much fat from our steers that we butcher, that it makes me feel better knowing that at least I'm using homegrown, home-raised other fats.
Yeah.
So
definitely, in our opinion, skin them.
Yes. We have time for more.
One more?
Yeah.
All right.
From Jody Whitler. I'm not even planning this, guys. I'm just going down the list. Does goat taste good?
Yeah.
I love goat.
I think if you like venison, you would like goat.
Yes.
It's very,
I think it depends. Most people don't like venison because they say it's gamey. And I think that that's probably because it's a buck in rut or it's old or whatever. But I think goat is even more mild than venison. And especially if it's like a female.
Yeah.
Or a castrated.
I think you would like it. We liked it a lot every time we've had it.
Yes. Do we have time for one more?
Sure.
Okay. Let's see here. We can do two. Kat McCary, do you know of anyone with milk cows for sale? I actually skimmed it and thought it said milk for sale.
I don't. Not off the top of my head.
No. If you email us, we can give you the information from the farm that we bought ours from, and we can probably talk with Rich and Shelley.
I think Rich and Shelley have a source for dairy cows.
So we can get you some information. Whether or not either of those places have any available, we don't know.
Right.
So you can email us, and we can give you that information. Okay, one last question.
All right.
Since it is after 7, but not by much. Last question from Lynn Gliatone. How is Watson doing? He's such a handsome boy, and Merry Christmas.
Yes. He's doing great. He right now is separated from all the cows. And just the other day, like they were on opposite sides of the driveway, and he was lonely on his side of the driveway.
He was admiring his lady.
Actually, though, I was surprised. It didn't seem like he thought anybody was in heat over there. He just wanted to go over there. So, so that's good. Hopefully he did his job all summer. He is doing really well. He's hopefully going to be a first-time dad any day now with our dairy cow. That will be the first calf we've gotten out of him, but really it'll be his first calf ever. So, I don't know if he'll even know.
No, he probably won't. But you guys, we want to just thank you so much for spending time with us today. And we want to first remind you that next week, because it's Christmas, we will not be doing a live stream. And we're actually taking that week off completely. So no videos from us next week. But we will return.
But we will have one this Saturday.
Yes, this Saturday we will have. And we will return on the 30th for our next live stream, and then everything will go on as business as usual.
Right.
So
we won't see you until after Christmas on a live stream. We will on a video. So we hope you all have a very Merry Christmas. Don't forget to take some time to remember what it's all about.
Yes.
And just think about all the blessings that we've had this year.
Yes.
You guys, we love you, and we will see you all next 2 weeks on a live stream.
All right. Take care, guys. God bless.
Bye. God bless.